Just trying to get some things in place. Right, I think we can go ahead and start. So I have something on my screen. Um, as part of the invitation, I have asked that if you've formed a team, you can enter your team name so we can recognize you in today's session. I already see some people already putting their team names there, which is really nice. I feel like some people don't really understand the concept of this. I see links and I see some other weird stuff. So the link is in the invitation, so you could check it out. But if you don't have it, um, I could share it again on the chat if you'd give me just a minute. If I could help me with that,
What do you need from me?
the link for this Mentimeter. So if you could drop it on the chat so people
Okay.
can still interact with it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Cool.
Did you find it?
Just give me a bit. But if you have access to it, it'd be nice if you put it in.
Okay, let me just send to you so you can help me extract. Copy link. I sent to you. Ah, so I have to take this way. Sorry. Copy link. And so I've dropped the link on the chat. So if you've not clocked in your team name, you can go to that link, clock in your team name so we can recognize. I see a number of teams have been created. So yeah, let's just do that while I introduce us to the session. I don't know if Ebuka is on the call already. Hi.
Yeah,
Um,
he's coming in. He's coming in. He should come. He should be in now.
okay, great. So yes, so good evening, everyone. Good to see our digital faces again. Welcome back to the day two of the AI bootcamp. I'm Raphael. Um, Today's topic we'll be talking about LLMs, assisted programming, mostly how AI scopes into programming. I will be having two speakers today. First speaker will be speaking for 30 minutes, then we'll have another speaker come speak for an hour. So it's going to be a tight session and a very interesting one, trust me. Trust me on that. And I don't know if he's ready.
I think you just give him a minute. I know he just came in now. He was in the waiting room. Sadly, my bad. If God forgive us, the grand speaker.
Thought it was a coup.
All right.
Forgive us, Ebuka.
All right, let me just get things set up. Hi
Don't worry.
everyone.
Before you go on, calm down.
Okay.
You're not escaping this. You're not escaping this. We'll be having a short discussion for 30 minutes on prompt engineering. So basically, it's a prompt engineering masterclass, and there's no better person that in this position to give us a talk than Ebuka. So Ebuka is a software developer and a passionate AI enthusiast which thrives on transforming cutting-edge research into real-world software products. Its focus lies in applied AI, especially in retrieval augmented generation, that's RAG, and agentic AI systems. He's a certified NVIDIA Deep Learning Institute instructor currently leading the NSK.AI and serving as a bootcamp lead for these cohorts. Um, Ebuka draws inspiration from a mix of thinkers and doers, Andre Kapati for AI, Cristiano Ronaldo for discipline, and Jordan Peterson for mindset. Is it that Messi don't have discipline or what? I'm not sure.
No.
Uh, oh, and it's also the biggest, according to him, is the biggest Naruto fan you would ever meet. So we should believe it, but I don't believe him. So
That thing by you.
So, with a deep commitment to AI education, Ebuka loves breaking down complex concepts into digestible insights, making advanced AI accessible to everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, or should I say virtual ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to our virtual podium, Ebuka, and the virtual clap. Yeah, namaste.
Namaste, namaste. Thank you all. Thank you all. So hi everyone. Let me greet our host. Hi Fine, hi Sai, hi Raf, and thank you to everyone in the comment section joining. I see people with their team names in the um on the screen. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Good numbers, good numbers. We have a lot of people here today. Yeah, hi, Amano. All right, let me go on by sharing my screen. Mm, where do I do this? Okay. Uh, um, I can't share. Okay, can you make me a host so that I can share my screen?
Yeah, so sorry, I'll get that. I'll do that right now. Sorry about that.
Mm.
Um, yeah, sorry, keeps moving. Gosh. Yeah, so that's been done.
All right, all right. Mhm. Okay. All right, let me share my screen now. Okay, see it. Oh, yes. Yeah, I should be sharing my entire screen. Let me share this. Mm. All right. So let me know if when you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Okay, guys. This. Oh my God. How do I put this? Well, hi everyone. Good to be back again. Gradually, we are getting into the boot camp, little by little. We're doing. Yesterday, we had like a very nice session from Sublian, very mind opening. I saw some of you posted on LinkedIn. I saw some posted on Twitter. I think one I remember was from Chinedu Ede. Um, I would reiterate over this. We should learn to share our journey. You should actually share your journey so you meet like-minded people, you expose yourself to opportunities, and um, you get to learn and build in public. So yeah, today we're doing prompt engineering masterclass. This is a class for so most of the people who are, I would call beginners basically into what is prompt. All they know how to do is they just know how to they just know what ChatGPT is or they know just know about Cloudy or Perplexity. They don't really like extract the best out of these things. They just know how to use it. They don't know that it's beyond just asking a question. Do you understand? And funny enough, there are people that are paid heavy amounts of money. If there are some of you in the US or some of you from the US would know about this, and some people that are into AI would know that there are people that their job is prompt engineering, that and they collect. I don't know I don't even know how much you collect, but I think it's up to $100K in a year. Or I don't know. But yeah, they collect good amount of money, and um, this is a field that has started gaining a lot of traction recently, and yeah, we're going to be exploring it. If you want to build AI applications, one of the most important things is your prompt. You need to be good at, making good prompts. You need to be great at making good prompts. In the meantime, I'd like to start up a particular app because I would use this later on. So just for demo purposes. Okay. So yeah. So who am I? That's my full name. It's an English Igbo name. Chukwuebuka, Ebuka Chukwudi. You can just call me Ebuka. Chukwuebuka is long and it might be strange to pronounce. It means God is great. Yeah, and I am an NVIDIA DLI instructor. I am the lead of NSK.AI. I am also your lead for this RAG bootcamp. I'm also a software developer, and yeah, they already said it that I'm an AI enthusiast. I'm big on AI, and I'm big on um, critical thinking. I'm big on Naruto. For the anime fans, you can react in the chat, but if you're a big fan of Naruto, yeah, you can react as well. So yeah, this is a link to my LinkedIn. You can scan my LinkedIn if you want to. If you would like to connect, um, let me know about that. You can scan this. So let's get right into it. Prompt engineering. What's prompt engineering? Let me kind of like reduce these. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Thank you. So prompt engineering is the practice of crafting inputs is the process of crafting input prompts to guide large language models like ChatGPT. So yeah, I will put it in that simple way. Those those that are advanced really know the difference between what ChatGPT is and how ChatGPT is not a model. The main model is GPT-4. So if you're on if you use ChatGPT, I'm saying this for those that don't know the difference between a chatbot, don't know the difference between a chatbot and a language model. ChatGPT is just a chatbot. The language model is GPT-4. You have GPT. They started with 3.5. That was what was mainstream, and yeah. So yeah, it's a way of crafting. It's a way of interacting with language
Ibuka,
model. Yeah,
Ibuka, Ibuka,
yeah,
can you hear me? Yeah.
yeah.
So someone mentioned that you should please like be louder. You're not audible. Someone just mentioned that you're not that audible.
I'm not that audible. Oh my bad.
Yeah, someone just mentioned. No, you just have to just speak up. That's just basically it.
My
Not
God.
shout. I just wanted to mention.
All right, all
Cool.
right.
It's
I
cool. Continue.
don't.
That was calm.
Yeah, I don't know how. Okay, I will try. I hope. Okay, I have water here, so in case I. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, let me just up my microphone. Maybe that will help because I feel like I'm at the top of my voice. All right. I hope, please, the person, you can confirm in the chat box to let me know if, this is good enough. All right. So yeah, it's prompt engineering. You can read through this, but it's basically how you can, the act, yeah, I put it as the art and science of designing inputs to guide LLMs. So it's about strategic communication and not just asking questions. So it's not just about asking ChatGPT, how do I write code to do a specific thing, or asking ChatGPT about a particular thing, probably about global warming or whatever it may be. It's a way of interacting with ChatGPT the same way you interact with your fellow human beings. You know how when someone wants to speak with you and then they're not, they're not chatting well, and then you're like, man, you're boring me. And that type of person, that interaction, they're definitely not going to get the best out of you. Say, for instance, you're a girl or a guy, and somebody of the opposite sex was trying to woo you, and then the way they're interacting with you, it's not interesting, it's not specific, it's not detailed. It's not open-minded. Um, that's what prompt engineering is with AI. It's beyond just asking, "Hi there, Amebuka, what's your name? Can you tell me about your favorite color?" It's beyond all those talking stage questions. It's an art, basically. It's an art and it's a science. So let's move on. So getting into it, straight and direct, we have different types of prompt engineering, different types of techniques, sorry, for prompt engineering. And we have what we call the zero-shot prompting. We have the one-shot prompting, and we have the few-shot prompting. So what would I say is the zero-shot prompting? So zero-shot prompting is when I come to ChatGPT and I say, tell me and define. Okay, let me use something here. What is this? A tool that I'll be using. What is LangChain? And ChatGPT, it gives you this. So you see, it's just a simple input. What is LangChain? Or what if what I want is let's say I want something different. I say, okay, let's do like this question. So this is what we call zero shot prompting. I will show you another one. Question: what is Langsmith? Answer: Langsmith is an observability tool. Now, question: what is LangChain? So I want you guys to take note of something. Answer. So you see, initially I asked it and just a question. What is LangChain? And this was the response he gave me. Gave me this long LangChain is this, gave me all of this, oh, wow, even gave me all of it. So let's look at the next question. The answer is going to give me next. So if you look at something, even though it's kind of like went overboard, it's the same question I asked it here, but then you see that this response is more concise than this response here. And that is what we call zero shots prompting, one shot prompting. Zero shots prompting is when you don't give the LLM. When I say LLM, I'm also referring to ChatGPT. So it's when you don't give the LLM an example, and I know that the advanced people here might they might be aware of this, but most of the beginners they might have seen this somewhere, or they might have thought of this before, but you're not aware of this term. And why I'm explaining it to you is because over the course, when we get to the advanced parts of RAG, we'll be mentioning some of this in some places. So zero source prompting, basically, like I wrote here, it requires no prior examples. It allows the model to generate responses based solely on given tags and context. So it just generates based from what it knows, from its knowledge. Do you get? Why one shot prompting? One shot prompting is when you give it a single example, like I did here. I don't know who's writing on this screen, but it's good. Like I did here. So you see here, I gave it an example, and what does this one shot prompting does? It kind of like gives it a mindset on how I want my answer to be. Now let's go. Who is this? Kiwish? Who is that? Who is doing this? Okay. So let's go here. And let's do one more thing. So let's say I'm still going to ask you this question. I want to give it another example. What is pinecone DB? That's what's on my mind. Pinecone DB is a vector database. Let me try one more. What is Grok? Grok is an AI inference. So, all right. So let me now ask you the same question again. What is LangChain? Okay, it's a difference. It's so you see it's so you see the response is different now. Sorry about this. If I please could you help me remove this from the screen? So you see the response is different
No
is
problem.
different now. Initially when I said what is LangChain, you say it give me this long, this thing. The next I gave it an example. I gave it one example, and then it says, oh, it gives me this one. It's a bit longer than what I wanted. But then you see, by the time I gave it this example, it gave me a one-liner just like the rest of them. So these are different techniques of prompting AI, of prompt engineering. These are different techniques of prompting AI, and we have them called zero shot prompting, one shot prompting, and few shot prompting. And what is the relevance of these types of prompting? The relevance of this type of prompting is so that the language model can learn from what you want from it. So in this place, I would have actually, because I'm somebody that is big on sarcasm, I would have given it a lot of sarcastic answers, but then I couldn't come up with anything from my head. But then the language model got to learn that, oh, what Ebuka wants, Ebuka doesn't want like a textbook of what is LangChain. Are you guys getting me? So it it learned the next time that what I want is, it's guessed, okay, he wants something shorter, and then he gave me a paragraph. And by the time I did what we call um um few short prompting, sorry guys, by the time I did what we call shoot short prompting, you see that it gave me a one-liner like what I've been doing. So let's move on to the next. Another type of prompting, which has been the most effective, I won't say it's the most effective, but it has been one of the most effective out there, is chain of thoughts prompting. Chain of thoughts prompting. So let me read what I read here. So chain of thought prompting is a prompt engineering technique that encourages large language models to reason step by step before producing a final answer. Rather than giving a direct output, the model is guided to show its work, break down the problem or task into logical components, just like a student might solve a math problem by writing each step out. So what is chain of thought prompting in essence? Chain of thought prompting in essence is basically guiding the LLM, because we all know how LLMs hallucinate. We've talked about this. We all know how LLMs hallucinate. And chain of thought prompting is a way for you to guide the LLM so that it doesn't just come up, it doesn't just make up things. So we've also, okay, oh, some people might have missed it, but okay, one thing I will touch on before moving on is how ChatGPT is not intelligent the way you think it is. We've covered this, prior to starting the bootcamp, but I'll go over it quickly. ChatGPT does just what ChatGPT does is, forgive me, what ChatGPT does is it does a lot of computation, it does a lot of mathematics, and it does a lot of statistics. So it predicts the next word, and in patterns. So it's not as intelligent as you may think. And if you don't guide it, if you don't guide ChatGPT, it might go off and start, doing, focusing, working with the wrong things it should be working on. So chain of thought prompting is a way to make sure that, oh, this LLM is not out of line. This LLM is not, thank you, Fine, for helping me removing all of that. Or whoever that helped me, thank you so much. It's a way of, making sure that the LLM is conscious of what it's producing. So yeah, I said, why does it work? It activates reasoning pathways in the LLM. It helps the model avoid jumping into conclusions. It improves performance on multiple steps or logic-heavy tasks. It makes outputs auditable and easier to debug. So what are examples of chain of thought prompting? Here we see think step by step. So when you see somebody using a prompt and they say, think step by step through this thing with me, or show me your reasoning, explain thought process before giving an answer. That is what we call chain of thought prompting. Take, for example, I want to build a simple to do that uses AI. So yeah, it's listing out, all of this, and then it produces a lot of snippets. But a better way to avoid, so it can produce so many snippets that might not be relevant. But one way that you can augment this prompt, that you can improve this prompt, is by saying something like this. Build a simple to-do that uses AI. Let me use one of the things that think step by step and explain your thoughts process to me as you build. Another way that you can augment chain of thought prompting is by doing, I'm sorry, there's noise in my background. I don't know if it's entering into this video. I just want to be clear so that I clear that up. If I,
You could just go ahead.
all right, all right, all right. Thank you. So yeah, think step by step and explain your thought process to me as you build. Another way to augment chain of thought prompting is by telling the AI to explain why you did each process the way you did. So this is one way that it will make, so you see now it's it's aligning goals, is listing out stack, is taking everything step by step. So first of all, it makes sure that what is releasing back to you is something. Sorry. So it makes sure that what is releasing back to you is something that it has deliberated on. It's not just randomly computing. It's just not just randomly making prediction. It's more deliberate. And this is one of the ways that we try and augment our prompts. It's one of the ways we try and avoid biases and hallucination in prompt engineering. So the anatomy of a prompt. So this anatomy of a prompt basically is what makes a prompt a good prompt. That's what this thing is all about, basically. And we start with a role. What persona should your AI have? You can start with, oh, you're a clown version of Batman. Write about why Gotham City is the best place to live. If I give an example, this is actually a very good example. If I say, write about why Gotham is the best place to live in the world, it might be smart enough to tell me that Gotham is not a real place. Okay, you gave me some stuff. But one way is, it might, tell you, oh, it might end. Okay. Pretended, okay. So you see here that it's a fictional something and all of that. One way is to give it a role. You can tell it, take the role of, okay, this is just referring, you're a clown version of Batman. Explain why your city is the best place. Okay, so this, you see that the prompt is different. This is another way that we can use to augment your AI prompt. This is another part of prompting. The role you usually want to give whatever prompt you want to feed into the AI, you want to give it a role. And so take for example, on a more serious matter, let's say you want to learn about RAG. You tell it acts, okay, or say something like, you are an expert AI educator. Can you teach me the fundamentals about RAG? So in this situation, what you are doing is you are giving your ChatGPT, you're giving your LLM a mindset, a framework. Remember, ChatGPT is trained on a lot of data, so it knows a lot of things. But this role assigned is one way to kind of like tailor the output, tailor the knowledge, tailor the response that you're going to get from ChatGPT. So if you're following me, please, let me know, give a reaction, or, drop it in the chat. Another way is giving it a task. What do you want it to do? In this last prompt I did, the task I gave it is, can you teach me the fundamentals about RAG? So, and one thing is making your task very concise. Making your task very concise. You give it a role, and also then you now give it your task. It's beyond just, saying something like, what is RAG? You want to learn about RAG, and then you're just asking, oh, what is RAG? It's going to give you, something basic. It might not take you through all of it. But then when you give it a task like, explain the fundamentals of RAG, then it understands, okay, this is what this person expects from me. But if you say something like, oh, what is RAG? It can give you, the definition it will be giving, an expert AI researcher. But when you give it the task of, okay, explain this thing explain the fundamentals to me, that way it knows what to focus on. And also that way it knows, I'm so sorry, it's like I'm speeding too much with time. Okay, I'm going to do less with the demo. I'm so sorry, guys. I just saw the time. So another anatomy of
Ebuka,
prompt.
Ebuka, feel free to continue. Yeah, don't rush through the talk. I can manage.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Another thing about prompts is the context. You have to give AI, you have to give the prompt, you have to give your large language models a good context. You have to tell it something it can learn from. So when we say context here, an example is what we did up here with future, few shots prompting and single shots prompting, giving it something like to work on. And in RAG, in terms of RAG, one of that is when you provide your documents. So when you want to learn something about, I will use RAG as an example again. When you want to learn about RAG, and you want to learn, maybe what you want to learn about RAG is not the coding aspect of it. You want to learn about the research work about it. And then you upload a research paper to ChatGPT, and then you ask, and you say, what is RAG? In that situation, the ChatGPT is going to give you the definition of RAG from a research-based perspective, instead of from a technical-based perspective, because now it has context. So when you want to know about something, when you want to learn about something, you always want to drop relevant information into the chat, into your prompt, so that your AI can also work with that. Then another one is instruction. Use bullet points. Use bullet points, make it max word of 100 words. Take for instance, I want to edit this one that we had, this thing, and I say, okay, use just 2 sentences to explain briefly. Spell briefly wrongly. And you see, when it does that, sure, right, you see, it gives me the definition of RAG, in 2 sentences. So another way, these are like the low level fundamental levels, at which prompt engineering can go. When we start building more building apps in the bootcamp, you see different ways that you have to go. You have to refine prompt, and some of your prompts might not have a role, but in terms of RAG, every prompt should have role. Every prompt should have role, because we are building AI agents. We want the LLM to be conscious of, oh, this is what we're trying to achieve. So the next thing is also constraints. You could constraint. So how do you want it to write? Before you saw me saying write like a clown, like a Batman clown. The length, here I used the length, and also the tone. The other time I used you're a clone version of Batman. It's definitely, since it knows that it's a clone version of Batman, it's going to write like a clown. So this is what we call the anatomy of a prompt. So a good prompt has a role, it has a task, it has context, it has instructions, and it has constraints. Although these constraints, it depends on what you want. It's not compulsory. So prompt modalities. So when you hear prompt modalities, this means what ways can we prompt an LLM? So we have text, we have image. You can feed an image to ChatGPT and tell it. You can feed an image to ChatGPT and tell it, oh, what do you explain this image to me, or tell me about this, or improve on this image. There was a time this Ghibli was working. People put their Ghibli into ChatGPT. There was a time Ghibli was trending on Twitter. People put their picture into ChatGPT, and then they get like a Ghibli response. So for those that might not have known what they did, they gave like a, what would I call it, a multimodal prompt to the chat. They gave a modal prompt to the chat. In this point, that modal was an image. There are also audio. You see where you put a recording into ChatGPT or into an LLM, and then that LLM kind of like extracts vital information from that recording. That is also another example of input. So prompt is beyond just text. I mean, on ChatGPT we have it here. Okay, allow this time. Tell me about RAG. And you feed it this information. This is another example. You feed it this information and then it generates something for you. Well, I don't know what happened to Sam Altman's app. It's not working. But yeah, you get the message. There are also videos and also code. For those that write code here, you come in, you do, okay, so see here, transcribe what I wrote. You come in, you do like this, you write a bunch of code here and you tell it, find the error in my code. This, or improve this code for me, or write tests, generate tests for this code. If I use the to-do that was generated here before, and say generate tests for this code. So this is also another input, although we might argue that code is also another form of text, but when you put them in code blocks, you can say that's another model of code. So this is on the side, but in the context of RAG, most of what we'll be using is text input. So text will be your main modality here. So what are the traits of an effective prompt? An effective prompt is clear. So it provides relevant context. So one thing behind all of this, textbook definition, one thing you should know about prompting is the response is only as good as your prompt, and your prompt is only as good as how clear you are. So take, for example, you employ a consultant or a specialist in something, in that thing you want to get out of ChatGPT. You're not going to ask it a simple, you're not going to tell the same specialist, like a simple thing. You're going to be very detailed. You're going to be very thorough, and you're going to be very clear on what you want, so that the LLM knows where it's focusing. How do I put it? Where it's putting all of its energy. Where its attention, basically. Yeah, we are going to talk about transformers, and there you get into attention. That will be on Thursday, our first lecture. But yeah, it's good. Making your prompt very clear. It helps the LLM structure where its attention is going to be in that prompt. So another trait is An effective prompt is specific, so you are clear on what you want. You're not just asking like open-ended questions. So what is RAG? You want to know about, let's say you want to learn about the history of RAG, how RAG came into, and then you're just asking the simple question of what is RAG? Be specific about it. What is it about RAG that you want to know? What is it about the response from the LLM that you want to get? Avoid any information that is unnecessary. So telling it what is RAG, okay, telling it what is RAG, okay, asking it what is RAG and telling it, oh, you had a bad day, maybe you were watching YouTube and then you were watching Naruto, any information that is not relevant basically. Or you want to learn about RAG and you are bringing data, you are, put in your context, you are adding things about deep learning, adding things about computer vision. But what you want to learn about is RAG. That way you won't get the best output from the LLM. So next is we have it's open-ended. Another thing about a good prompt is it's open-ended. You kind of like, you're not strict in as much as you are very clear and specific on what you want. You also give the large language model the liberty. So maybe you want to learn about the fundamentals of RAG, and probably you want to learn about the fundamentals of RAG. You're not now like, tell me this particular thing, tell me this particular thing. Like you leave it, okay, the fundamentals of RAG, and then you see it's, I can't find where it listed those fundamentals of RAG. But it gives you those fundamentals, and then you now go, okay, tell me more about the research that inspired RAG. So it's open-ended. This one is a way of, let's say maybe you're not really clear on what you want out of the LLM, and you want the LLM to be creative. You want the ChatGPT to be creative in that sense. And another, example is it is detailed. So, and this is this was a prompt I copied that we're going to use. But yeah, because of time, let's go. So prompt engineering a RAG. So in classic prompting, it relies solely on internal training data. So in classic RAG, in classic prompting, so what we've been doing so far so good. You see, I didn't put too much, I didn't get my data into it, and I wasn't asking it some question. I allowed the LLM to, answer based on the data it was trained on. So, and here you see classic RAG prompting. What is LangChain? So, but then in RAG prompting, you ask it, given the context below, what is LangChain? So take for example, there is a RAG paper, or a research paper about RAG, and then you put it into it and you ask it, okay, based on the context that you have, what is RAG? How would you define RAG? This is a way. So in RAG prompting, there is always context, there is always a knowledge base, there is always external data that you are feeding into the LLM. But in the normal prompting that we all know, there's nothing, no external data. You're just asking it question based on the data it was trained. And why does it matters? So RAG introduces a context window, meaning prompt design must focus on structuring retrieved content, controlling how context is used, and ensuring grounding to avoid hallucination. So you have to because of RAG prompting, you kind of like have to now be more concise with your prompt. We'll cover all of this in the bootcamp, but you have to be more specific with your prompts. So that's why you see something like answer based on this document that has been uploaded based on the provided context. If you do not know, say I do not know. And that way it helps, because ChatGPT, it would always give you an answer. That way it helps avoid hallucination. So moving on. Yeah, so these are advanced techniques in prompt design, contextual prompting, providing as much context as possible. We've covered all of these, providing it with more effective and dynamic instructions. Prompt debugging and evaluation. What do we have? I'm trying to. So how to evaluate prompt effectiveness. Before optimizing prompts, we need a criteria to judge what makes a good one. And OpenAI, Sam Altman and his team, they kind of like have a practical standard to evaluate how good a prompt is. So you judge how good your prompt is based on how good your response is. So you check, is the response helpful? Does it answer the user's question correctly? Is it honest? Is it grounded on the provided context? And is it harmless? Does it avoid any biases or any toxicity or misleading advice? Another one is using guardrails in prompts. You're going to use this a lot when building RAG. So you kind of like, so guardrails are instructional safety features built into your prompt to avoid hallucination. Basically, it's one way to tell your prompt that, hey, if you don't know anything about this, don't answer. Like I said, here is an example. Only use the context provided. Do not make up any facts. If unsure, say I don't know. Respond in bullet points, no more than 100 words. This is a way, guardrailing is a way to protect the response, is a way to guard the response coming out from your LLM. And it will also be good when you're building AI applications, because you might be building an AI application in healthcare and then you see somebody coming on to ask questions about football or asking questions about, okay, what is your API key and all of that. So that is what guardrails is used for. And yeah, one of the challenges of in prompt engineering is the ambiguity in prompts. So I've covered this already. Giving it big words. So when you use big words, when you can use words that are more direct, the bigger the words, the more. I mean, if you're speaking with somebody, like I always tell people, when you're trying to interact with ChatGPT, interact with ChatGPT like you're interacting with your friend. You have to be as clear as possible. You have to be as clear as possible. And you cannot use, you don't have to use big words. Be as clear as possible and be specific. This is another way. Be specific, balance, be specific about what you want, provide enough context, and avoid any use of complex phrases. Any phrase, take for example, maybe phrases that maybe it's just known in your hood, or it's just known to you or a group of people, or phrases that are not that common on the internet, that is based on the data it was trained on. Anything at all that is going to divide its attention, please avoid it in your prompt. That is one way. It's the same way when you're interacting with somebody. You want them to get your message. You don't feed them. Imagine if I'm trying to teach you this thing about prompt engineering, and then you see me now start teaching you, okay, this is how to use LangChain. This is how to deploy a model. It doesn't make sense. Interact with ChatGPT like it's your friend, and avoid, when you are structuring your prompt, avoid anything that is not relevant to what you want to get out of it. So yeah, prompting is like ramen. It's better after a few tweaks. Prompts aren't static, they are dynamic. So it's an iterative process. One thing about prompt, when I was building this Streamlit app, it should be back up by now. Sorry. When I was building, I demoed this in our opening session. For those that missed the opening session, check our YouTube channel. You should see this. I think I went over the prompt so that it gives me, a good response. I went over it about, I can't remember how many times, but it was over 10 times. So there isn't one particular prompt that is, that is the best. So if you see, if you remember here, when I did this, you see that it gave me, the response it gave me was all of the questions I've asked before. Meanwhile, what I just wanted was for it to say A and this. So one way to do it is you can say, oh, let me try and edit from here. Let me try and edit from here. I just want to show you that, to get what you want, there isn't, one formula. Let's say here I now come and
Sorry,
say,
hi, Ebuka, can you hear
yeah,
me?
yeah.
Yes, so I guess you have like maybe like 5 minutes.
All right, no problem.
So you can wait
So,
another 5 minutes time. Thank you.
all right, so I'll round up now. So yeah, I say something like, you know, give me just one line. Don't repeat the prompts. Okay. I wanted you to add the, now near there you can now edit this and say, okay, let a column be in front of your response. You see, it's different from what. So the idea is, even if you follow, all of the things I said about, if you follow all of these, steps, in making your prompts good, you might have, the perfect prompt structure and still not get the right response that you want. The thing about prompt engineering is you always refine it. Even ChatGPT, it's even those at at OpenAI, those that build all of this ChatGPT, Cloudy, Gemini, they are always working on improving the prompts. They're always working on improving the prompt. So one prompt, I'm telling you, when you're building AI applications, you won't get the prompt right on the first try. It's most likely not give you what you want. But what you have to have at the back of your mind is you keep on iterating. You keep on iterating. You look at it, you see, oh, you didn't catch this. You add that. Okay, I want you to catch this in your response. So yeah, these are key takeaways. Understanding what prompt engineering is. We talk about what prompt engineering is. We talk about the types of prompt engineering. We talk about the anatomy of prompt engineering. We talk about the best practices, how we should be specific, detailed, give it clear instructions. And yeah, we didn't talk about the future of prompt engineering. This is something AI brought. And I was going to talk about this, as a discussion, but I'm running out of time. And I'll just give these two strategies. Two strategies of improving of getting a better prompt is telling AI. So I usually use Cloudy to generate prompts for me, Cloudy or Gemini. Telling an LLM, I'm trying to achieve this. Can you generate a detailed prompt that I can use to prompt another LLM to achieve this? So I'll give a simple demo. I'm trying to learn the fundamentals of RAG. Can you generate a detailed prompt for an LLM to teach me? And you see here it goes on. So you see here it starts with, oh, you're an AI expert. So it follows all of those things on your behalf. It even provides context. So you see all of the context it provides. And what you do is you just copy this. And I would say this is one of the most effective ways of augmenting your prompts. Copy this, and then you feed it into the LLM, and then you see it gives you what you want exactly. So generating prompts for the LLMs, using LLMs. Another way I wrote here is asking LLM what's prompt. So another thing is when you're doing when you're using ChatGPT and then you get a response that is good, you can ask ChatGPT, can you give me a prompt that will help me reproduce that and this response that you have given me, and it can help you generate a good prompt. So I would leave it to Sai to move on from here. We'll handle Q&A at the end of the session. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ebuka. This was a very insightful session, and for many of you who have been using AI, should I say AI, or who have been using the chatbots the wrong way, this is an eye opener. So very quickly, you can drop a question in the chat, and we will pick those questions. Um, yeah, I'll just give some few times for questions and we'll pick those questions up later. So very briefly, I just want to show something as well. Um all right, good. So why this is up, let me just introduce our next speaker. All right. I'm so excited to do this. So yeah, from the bustling classrooms of IIT in Madras, where he earned his degrees in mechanical engineering, to the Hall of Carnegie Mellon University, where he completed a Master of Science in Robotics under the guidance of the legendary Professor Manuela Veloso. You can check her out. He's been on a mission to push the boundaries of what AI can do. His thesis work focused on explainable AI in vision and robotics, blending technical depth with real-world impact. Professionally, he has won so many arts from a research associate at Disney Research. to research lead at Average AI, where he helped grow the company from ground up to a valuation of around $850 million. Today, he continues to shape the future of healthcare at Tempus AI and Anterior AI as a research scientist. His current work explores the bleeding edge of generative AI in healthcare, from fine-tuning LLMs to building smarter summarization models with human feedback to evaluating and improving how AI understands and generates medical insights. It's published across top conferences in NLP, speech, robotic, reinforcement learning, and more. Is an active member of the International Consortium for Artificial Intelligence and part of the Shared Decision Making Special Interest Group. Is a builder, a researcher, a startup scaler, and above all, someone who is deeply passionate about using AI to make a real difference in people's life. Also, not to mention, he also served as the advisory for NSK AI. Before I introduce him, let us look at the screen. This is a mini, should I say a mini core banking application. Very functional. I'm not a programmer. I don't write code. I don't know programming languages. I use prompt engineering for this to build this from ground up. And if you're looking at doing something like this, how you can leverage LLM for writing code. Maybe you're new to programming languages. You need like a programming assistant. This session is for you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sai. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for the introduction, Rafael. Let me share the screen. Yeah, I was going to do the introduction myself, but Rafael was kind to do it for me. Uh, yeah, so I have some of my publications here and some of my journey here. I'll also do a keynote speech sometime later in this boot camp where I can give uh, some more information on what exactly I did in each of my job. But yeah, feel free to follow me on Google Scholar or LinkedIn. Uh, yeah, cool. Let's get into the talk now. Okay, this side. Yeah. So the talk is going to be about using AI for coding. What are the best practices? First, I'll give an introduction for people on how do you use AI for coding, and then use advanced techniques in AI for coding. Uh, there are several advanced techniques that just don't help you code, but actually do the code for you and build programs without even writing codes. Uh, so let's get started. Before getting into the demo, I want to point out like three news articles here. The first one is about how Claude, one of the coding assistants that people use a lot, how it fixed a 4-year-old bug in 30 prompts. So it's not just one prompt. So people had to dig deep using LLM assistants to fix these prompts, this bug. This is the first like a good uh, outcome, right? There are several good outcomes. But let's look at the second news, right? Cursor AI introduces bug bot memory features. Uh, so this community is getting actively new and new features for doing bug debugging and memory management and stuff. And the third news is about Replit, which is like a no-code software engineering, like a building product and deploying product solution. I'll show their website, but how their CEO apologized after an AI agent that was developed on their platform by someone else wiped out the company's entire code base in a test run. And then when you asked, "Did you do it?" it said, "No, I didn't do it." So these are the things that can happen when you don't understand coding and you use no code solutions. You should be careful about them, right? So that's why I have written this here. Now there's like a lot of discussion around people saying, "Hey, if you use AI for coding, you'll get dumber, you will forget coding and stuff." But I won't say that. I'll say use it, but don't forget how to code, right? And also continue exploring new tools and new new releases, experimental feature, but be aware that they are experimental. They are not ready, but keep them in your arsenal. And always remember, you cannot say that, hey, you cannot say to your company or anyone that, hey, I use uh, Claude for my coding assistant, so that's how this bug was introduced. So don't blame me. Always, you are the person who is going to be responsible for your code, right? And based on current state of the art, these are the two languages that AI code, AI assistance in coding is really good at. Python and TypeScript, and you can say maybe C and C++ as well, but these are the two things I would prefer. And what are the tools you can use for coding? Almost all of the code editors nowadays have some sort of AI tool built in, starting from Google Colab, VS Code, Cursor, to all the way to Taskmaster. I'll show some of them in my demo. And then there are also tools for complete software creation called Replit. This is the CEO who apologized, by the way, but feel free to try it out. It's really good. Yeah, let's move on. I'll start with a demo of Google Colab, and then we'll slowly increase the level. We'll look at Cursor, and then we'll see an MCP tool called Taskmaster to increase the use of coding, right? Use of LLM assistance in coding. So for those, most people here would know that Google Colab is a free as well as like you can also pay for it, service from Google, and it gives you a platform to practice your coding as well as like build simple applications, right? Let me move this. Yeah. So I have created a simple notebook here, and it's already connected to the RAM, and you can also like add GPU for short amount of time. But first, what I want to do here is build something with AI. Like this, I'll make this a little easier for people who are new to coding to follow as well. Uh, so first, what I want to do is I want to, let's say, create a very simple linear regression model from here. First, what I want to do is create, like, I'll just copy paste what I have written before and see how that works. So this is a coding assistance chatbot here, and you can use this chatbot to type in what you want, and then this is where the code gets populated. So I'm saying create a simple script for creating training and test data set of 10 data points each. It's a very like a toy problem. And I'll say that X, which is the feature, is of dimension 2 and Y is of dimension 1. I'll say use the random library, also display the data. And then I click it, I then send it to run, and the model is working. And if it works well, it should populate the code here. Yeah. So you can read the code. Like I would say, always read every line of the code that your AI assistants generated. Here you can see, and most of the LLM generators usually put nice comments here saying what they do, right? I won't go into each and every line and explain Python here, but with coding assistants, you can also say explain in more details each of the line, and it will explain it to you. But let's to start with, run this. I'll say accept and run, and it generated the data. You can see that training data, this is the features, and these are the Y, the labels, right? We want to regress on it. We want to do a linear regression. And for that, I wrote this particular prompt. I say create a fake regression, which is weights multiplied by each of these features plus a bias term, and I'll say initialize them in a for loop, right? Calculate the errors and then display the one with lowest error. And I'll say don't do gradient descent. That's why I call it fake regression. We're essentially picking up different model parameters and randomly, and then find one that has the lowest error. Yeah, let's run this. And it should intelligently add a new cell here to say what and yeah, to do what I asked for. Cool. Let's look at this code. It says it created a function saying predict, which given a data point, multiplies with our model parameters and then gives us a y value. And then it also has a function for creating mean square error, right? And then this is the number of runs we are going to run, which is 1,000 runs. And in a for loop, we are randomly initializing one set of parameters here, calculating the error, and then finding the error. If our current error is the lowest error, then we update our lowest error as well as update the best parameters we have so far, right? And then for every 100 iterations, we are going to display the result here. And then at the end, we are going to display the best values and the lowest error we have. Let's run this. Cool, it ran. It's pretty fast because it's a toy problem, right? And you can see the error is pretty small here. Okay, this is good. If you, by the way, if you have any questions or something that I should be trying out for you guys, like post in the chat. I'll try to read them. Cool. So we have a script here, but I want to now convert this into a proper function. I can do this here, but I want to go one level higher, and then I want to use this this free editor called Cursor, right? And it by default comes with a free plan, which with that free plan you will have like a limited number of code completions, and it's like yeah, you can try it out, but they also have pro versions as well, right? Okay, I have already downloaded it and set this cursor up. So let's open it. Yeah, so this is a new project I have created. I have also created a virtual environment, which by the way, you can ask the LLM to also do it for you. You can say set up a virtual environment with Python 3.6. Virtual environment is just to keep your project separate from your laptop's Python function, so you don't mess with them, right? Let me first copy the code that we created here. Okay, it's okay. I'll delete the API key, so don't worry. I showed my secret keys, but anyway, so let me create that. I'll say it's a fake regression.py. I'll create this file and then copy paste the code we have created here. I'll just paste it randomly without any formatting, right? I'll then now say I have a script here for big regression demo. Make it in make it into a runnable script with __ main and modularize it, the code nicely. I'll just say this here, and by the way, if you just say this, it will just look at your entire code base and try to find the files, which works. But just to be safe, we can also add the file here. I'll say add this fake regression so that the model can quickly find it. Let me know if my screen if the text is too small or something. But let's run this. Okay, now you can see what it's doing. It's reading this fake dot regression, and it's restructuring the code into cleaner modular format. Okay, now you can see here that there's like a bunch of green and red things here. So what's happening here is individually it makes some changes, and you can accept or undo these changes individually. Let's say this looks good. I'll keep this, and so it has converted our code here into bunch of functions here, and it created a class as well for us, which is really good coding practice. Regression training, which has a bunch of functions here, and then a main function, and then this is the entry point for us. You can go individually read the code, or you can just say keep all of them, right? Now I want to test this up, test this, but yeah, let's see. Let's say I'm new to Python, right? I don't know how to test run this code. I mean, okay, here the code the editor also already say that you can run this by doing Python fake underscore regression, or you can just ask the model how to run this, right? Uh, since we have it already, uh, we'll just run it. First, let me activate uh, my virtual environment. Just say we can ask the model. Let's say I have a virtual environment activated, or let's say how to activate it. Yeah, so it gives us a command here, and then I'll just copy paste and enable the virtual environment here. Now let me run the code. I'll just say Python fake regression.py. Now you see here that it printed out the error and the best parameters it found. Now let me make it slightly more difficult and artificially introduce a bug here. Let's say so we are calculating this here, and then we are copying the best uh, uh, parameters here. Let me add a bug here saying, let's say I accidentally modify it, right? And then I'm just multiplying by 10 and like adding 100 to it. So now when I run it again, it shows a really high test data error, right? This is bad. Let's say for some reason I don't someone else introduced this bug and I don't understand this. Now what I can do is I can just copy this here and then paste it in my chat edit assistants here, and then ask the model, why is the test uh, error so high? Debug it, right? And it scanned our code and pointed out that, hey, you are doing this, uh, and then it also test the fix that it has generated, and it analyzes that and shows that the issue has been fixed. And we can apply that here. We'll say keep it here, and then rerun it to find that the error is gone. Now this is how you debug. Now it is very helpful for debugging nowadays. I use it a lot as well. So now what we have done is already have a script here, right? And then we want to modify that script, and that's how and we used cursor for that. Now what if you are creating a huge project from scratch? Uh, Now you want to analyze the project, come up with individual steps, and then do them one by one. Can you use cursor for that? You can use cursor, but there are tools to make it much easier for that, right? And that tool, one of the tool we are going to look at is called Taskmaster. This is from Claude as well, Anthropic, the company, right? Uh, yeah, I'll answer the questions at the end, but yeah, interesting question in the chat. Yeah, so Taskmaster is an MCP tool. MCP is nothing but uh, a protocol that you can use to connect different tools that you create with your LLM. So the LLM has access to these tools, and it can talk to these tools, right? And this is this is written on top of MCP server. Uh, yeah. So, and they have instructions on how to set it up. I have already set this up. You have to manually add this config to 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 your cursor here. You can go here. You can go to the cursor settings, and then you can go to tools and integration, and you can. I have already added this, but you can add a new MCP server here, but I have already added it here. Right. Now, what I want to do is, yeah, let me so I started this new project here. Uh, and this project, I want to do build a Streamlit demo of a simple super agent, right? Now, super agent is like a agent uh, that can call multiple other agents, right? Let's say you have a trip planning agent, and you have another agent that's, let's say, a hotel booking agent. Now, based on your request, the model will automatically choose which agent to call for, to use. And here I say I want one chit chat agent, another HR agent, and the Streamlit should have a chat interface. And I have secrets.txt, which has the API keys for OpenAI. You will use this in the project. And I'm also saying keep this implementation minimalist. Now, what I will do is I'll start a new session, and I'll say initialize. First, for every project, we'll say initialize task master. I made a spelling mistake, but it doesn't matter. The model will figure it out. So when I initialize all these steps are given here, like the list of commands you can use. You can use these commands, or you can just invoke them in your chatbot. Yeah. So it is initializing bunch of files here. And if you look at each of these files, uh, you should see a lot of rules here, right? You can see a lot of rules here that shows that how this task master is set up, how to create like a design document, how to update its own internal rules and stuff. You can look at them. It's pretty interesting uh, how detailed rules you can how many how depth the rules we place here are really in detail, and the model still follows it. It's really amazing to see that, right? And what it also has done is it is passing our like prd.txt, and then it is going to create a bunch of tasks, right? It has created a total of uh, 12 tasks. Let's see if it has already created it. Yeah, so it has a bunch of uh, it created a bunch of tasks. It should have created a bunch of tasks here. Let's see. Let's ask it. Uh, let's say, okay, can you parse the prd.txt and create tasks? Okay, it is doing it already. Uh, Okay, it's creating individual tasks for achieving this final goal. It says first it needs to set up the environment, and it is assigning a high priority to it. And then it says implement API key loading, implement a base agent class, implement HR class. So it has now broken down our requirement into a list of tasks. Yeah, let's see the tasks here. So you can see these tasks, and let's say if you want to edit or modify some of these task details, you can do it as well. And this is actually it's just a JSON file, so it's not like a easily readable format. I'll say create tasks text file, uh, so I can read them easily. And it will use the right internal MCP tools, and it populated tasks. You can look at each of these tasks, and I can say, hey, task 7, use this library instead of this library. You can do that. What's our next step now going to be is, let's say I'll say, okay, it looks good. Build the first task, and then I can build them individually, and then I can test them individually, and then build them one by one. Or I can just say build all of the tasks. I don't advise doing this for a particularly like a large project. This one is fine. It's pretty lightweight. but you want to individually test each of the tasks and then commit them to your version control, test them and individually. Right. Now, I don't want to do that here because it's going to take 10 minutes at least to do that, but I have done this already. We can look at the code here. So you can see the individual files it has generated. Everything is like no code. Like I didn't write the code. So and you can also, like I mentioned, you can also now use test cases. It has also, like, the model itself wrote some test cases for us and to test if it works well. You can add more edge case behavior and stuff and then test them. Now, let me run this. You can also run this by, let's say, run it. Right. And you can test this Streamlit demo quite quickly. And this I assume is really useful for people for the upcoming hackathons. Cool. It's taking a while, but yeah, you can run this demo really quickly. Sorry, you can build a simple project using these code assistants, and with free plan you can also do a really good job of building this, or you can get a pro plan. I have a pro plan. uh, well while we are waiting for it to run, uh, okay, it finally decided what to do, and it ran it and it opened the browser, and this is completely generated without doing any coding. Let's say now, uh, I'll ask, can I play soccer in the office? Right. Now, this is like a company policy question. So ideally, the HR bot should answer this question. And the HR bot says playing soccer is not permitted. Now let me ask, uh, what is the best soccer club in Africa? Now, ideally, the chit chat bot. I created two bots here. Chit chat bot is answering the question here, and yeah, that may be some debate among you guys on which one is best. But anyway, I don't want to start a fight here. But yeah, a lot of these are like almost uh, all of this is like created without me coding. But what I have to do is come up with this product doc. So I became more of an architect. This is what the model should do. These are the edge case behavior you should handle. That's how this is built. And and taking this one level higher is what is Replit. Replit is a no-code platform for building complete software as well as deploying them. Now, this is like initial stages, so it's not used in production. They have templates for like Python projects, building websites, as well as like deploying them as well. Feel free to explore some of them in their trial plans. Uh, but yeah, that's it for the demo. And let me continue with my slides. I just have one more slide here to say what's the ideal workflow when you are using AI assistants in coding or no code platforms, right? Always start with the design doc. Don't just say, hey, I want you to build this, go and build it, right? I shouldn't say go and build a chatbot. I want to say I want to build this chatbot, and these are the things that it should handle. Can you write a design document for it? And then be very specific and elaborate. Add more details than you think is necessary. You can add documents of specific libraries you want to use. And like I mentioned, add edge case scenarios. And then let's say if you are worried about memory consumption, you can say be careful in your memory consumption, right? And then you can also ask the model whenever you are not sure, ask me some clarifying questions, right? So it will ask you some questions before making stupid decisions, right? And then break them down into simple tasks and edit this design doc. Once you're done with that, then build one task at a time. So You ask the model to generate the code, test it, fix it, iterate, commit, then build the next task. This is the ideal workflow that I would advise for people building hackathons and stuff. And that's pretty much it. I don't have anything more to add here. We are exactly on time. But I can answer questions now if you guys have anything.
All right, Sai, thanks for this wonderful session. It was very insightful, and it implements the first session by Ebuka. So, some questions here. Someone asked, just curious, but is RAG prompting kind of the same way Google LLM works?
Uh, I would say n- not usually, right? RAG is mainly used when you have really large context window, like really large amount of information that you can't fit them into your model, or you want to save on token limits, right? At that time, you use RAG to find the uh, best document to answer your question and use it. Most of the time, Google LLM. Wait, let me rephrase the question. So rephrase the answer. Most of the time, LLMs don't like the LLMs like ChatGPT don't use RAGs. But in case if you mean Google LLM as in like when you do a Google search, it shows you the answers, right? Like when you search for something. Maybe that uses RAG. Maybe that finds out relevant documents and summarizes them for you based on your question. That might use RAG, but the chatbots don't use RAG. Yeah.
All right, thank you. The next question says, I hope that answers that question. The next question say, which is the best app to build the AI with and which language should someone use? So let me rephrase the question. What is the best app to build what is the best app to build with AI and which language should the person use?
Yeah. I would say start with cursor. If you're okay, if you're at least like, I mean, you can use cursor if you are decent in coding. You don't be really good at it. And language, I would say C++, TypeScript, uh, and uh, uh, and Python or is the one you should go with. Mainly, the reason is that LLMs understand these languages much better than the other languages. So it will have higher accuracy on these languages.
All right, thank you. Hope that answers the question as well. This question say, are there any tools you'd recommend that maybe you haven't mentioned for AI coding?
Uh, Yeah, if you're really short on time, it's like I'll say just copy paste the code. Like if you don't have time to set up a cursor, like Ibuka mentioned, like just copy paste your code and error to ChatGPT. And ChatGPT also has a coding mode. But even the simple ChatGPT should also answer your questions directly. Uh, and there are several tools like Klein is a new code editor that came out, and there's another version of Klein called Klein. I can put it in the chat. Uh, uh, those people's Klein are like much better than Cursor actually. Like it helps you think through your solution before actually building them. Uh, I haven't tried Klein or Klein, but I want to try them soon. Yeah, so they are taking this to next level. They almost like you are working with another uh, human being who's like a junior software engineer. You can work with them. Uh, yeah,
Okay. Okay, just three more questions and we are
go on,
done. I
go on.
already
I
have
have
them.
time.
So this
Okay.
so this one is nice. This one says, how can we strike the balance in using LLMs as a tool and also challenging ourselves for junior development roles in the era of Stack Overflow?
Yeah. Uh, so coding as a field is changing, right? We have to go with how the field is moving, um, and as well as keeping that in mind, we also shouldn't forget. coding as well. So I would say a good starting point is using chat as like assistants, as well as not trusting them blindly, right? Review each and every single line of the code that you have written, uh, and then find out uh, what is the error. Is that something that you would come up with, or if you think it came up with a better solution or better way to organize the code, you should learn from it, right? By reading these codes, you can understand them, and you can also improve your level from junior to senior, whatever. But this has become more like a give and take. You make the models better by giving them exact design, like a prompt, as well as based on the codes you write, you should also learn from it. Yeah, that's my thing. Yeah,
All right. So many questions. So because of time, I'm just gonna collate these questions and we would answer them on the Discord channel.
good,
All right.
awesome.
Thank you. All right. And with that, we've come to the end of today's session. You would agree with me that this session is a banger. And yeah, I'll just hand over to Ifine for some closing remarks while I compile the questions.
Okay, sir, can you all confirm that you can hear me?
Yeah, yeah, very
Hello.
well.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, solid. So as you all know, Ivka is the leader of the community, and Sai is the community advisor. So these are like in-house talks, NSK.AI family. I would like to thank Sai, Ralph, Ivka for today's talk. It was really refreshing. I learned a lot personally, things I never knew about prompting, even about
Mm,
using the coding agent. As you
mm.
all know, Ralph, your mic is not muted.
I know. I
Yes.
know.
So as you all know, I think it's important you understand what we're trying to do in this boot camp. I know there are many people that feel like, oh, we're not writing enough code, but I think it's important you see how those things you took for granted. I am sure that many people that use coding agents, many people that prompt, the many things you learn from this session, and we're slowly building up in complexity. So yesterday the talk was more of, what is the entire framework, end to end. But now we're slowly building up. You're learning about prompting, you're learning
Who is
how to
that?
use agents, you're getting to see it, and then we're just going to keep getting, improving and in technicality as we go along the bootcamp. So I'll just say take your time to learn the fundamentals. And yeah, so sorry the mails came in late. Raf, sorry, could you please mute yourself? So I'll send recordings of today's session for people who might have missed it, and links for the session on Thursday. Please don't forget to document your experience. It's really important that you document your experience for yourself and for the people around, because you never know who's watching. On your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, talk about things you've learned, and tag the speakers in the camp. And the boot camp is still open to everyone. You can still get your friends to come in. So let's all get to the Discord. We're going to answer all questions. Once again, big shout out to our speakers. Thank you, Sai. Thank you, Ibuka. Thank you, Raft, for everyone that made today's session a success. Thank you all. Thank you so much. And see you guys same time next time on Thursday. We're having another talk. It's going to be really exciting. Sorry, on Friday rather. It's going to be really exciting. And yeah, take care. Good night, everyone. Bye.